Thank you so much from the Benin Network Center. Thank you so much, Daniel, with those wonderful guests here analyzing the role of women in nation building. Now, today also happens to be International Day for Sports, Peace and Development, and I have a special guest with me in the studio talking about Aderonke Ogunleye-Bello. But we'll surely be talking with her right after this break. We will take a look at some major moments and the importance of sport in nation building. And joining me this morning, just like I said, is Aderonke Ogunleye-Bello, the Executive Director for Fame Foundation. A wonderful morning to you, Aderonke.
Good morning, Tolu. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you this morning.
Good to be back here again.
I know you've been working behind the scenes assiduously when it comes to sport, and you've been a major role, even though you also have so many other endeavors that you also undertake. But looking at the International Day for Sports, how important has sports been in the role of ensuring peace and development?
Okay, so as we know that Nigeria is heterogeneous in nature, we have our diversities when it comes to religion, languages spoken, tribe, geopolitical zones and all of that. And the only thing that unifies us in Nigeria is sport. And I think it's very, very important tool. It's a very important vehicle. It's a very important avenue to use sports, this unifying tool, this social change driver, to push for development, to push for gender equality, to set agendas.
Okay, talking about setting agenda, because a lot of people have taken it out of context when you're talking about using sport in setting agenda. In what area can we use sport to set agenda?
Okay, it depends on the where you're looking at. For example, it could be setting agenda for to set agenda for equality, equity, for advocacy, to campaign against child trafficking, like the previous speaker rightly said, to also help women in nation building. You can also draft the right policies to put in place, that we can also work by. So it's a very important tool to use to set agenda through the right framework and policy drafting that could be implemented.
I really appreciate that. But one major area that so many people have not really been able to explore, though in Nigeria we don't really experience that much, besides the issue of tribalism that we do have, or ethnicity that do crop up from time to time. But across the world, there is one major problem that a lot of people are facing: racism and gender inequality. I'm going to take it into part. Let's start from the angle of racism. How are sports fared in tackling racism? Let's take it from that perspective first.
Okay, so I think if you ask me, the biggest problem in football today is racism. Okay. Aside the fun, the pageantry, the beauty of football, especially even basketball and even cricket, so many games like that. And I think the major problem right now in sports is racism. So, and I'm so happy that a lot of organizations are speaking against it. Even sport bodies globally are talking against, sports racism. They are trying to, even players themselves, athletes themselves, both the men and women, are also campaigning against racism in their own way. But I think we can do it. We can do better. It can be better by making these athletes, I'm sorry to say, the popular ones, the big ones, making them ambassadors of, against racism. Make them, push it to them. Make them take a vow, or take a stand in ensuring that okay, racism is tackled. My name is Aderonke. I'm a superstar, I'm a football star, I'm a basketball star. And if you are my follower, if you believe in what I do, if you are my fan, can you go out there and embrace other people and stop, discriminating and end stigmatization and end racism? Can you imagine if we have hundreds, thousands of all these popular athletes across sports, talking about, like I said, cricket, basketball, yoga, taekwondo, football, and all of that, from all the big football associations across the world? Imagine them coming out, taking a stand. Even if you want to be racist, or you want to just come out to be, you'll be ashamed of yourself. And the message would go around, even to the grassroots, because sometimes I don't want to give excuses to anybody. I don't want to really think racism is wrong, but sometimes I've seen some of these people that are racist. A lot of them are, I can tell you, they're illiterate. Some of them are from some countries that are just, they think the whole world revolves around their country and their city and their village. They are not really exposed, regardless of their skin color. They are not exposed. They don't really know what's up outside there. Aside them, they think, okay, being black is the main thing. No other person, I think, or being black is like I'm superior. So I think that sports is a kind of tool and vehicle, like I said earlier, is a social vehicle that could drive messages to the grassroots, because people in the grassroots watch sports, they watch football, they watch soccer, they watch basketball. So what if our superstars, national team players, national team athletes also carry these messages on their head, campaigning against racism? So that woman or that man in that village, that town that is not exposed, can get the message through their their star.
I know you also been working behind the scene, trying to really, when it comes to gender inequality, trying to also give opportunity to the girl child. You've been involved in so many projects where you try to create opportunities for the girl child. Gender inequality is one of the major challenges we also face in sport. As we are talking about International Day for Sport and Peace and Development, how far has Nigeria gone when it comes to gender equality? Because we heard in recently in the United States of America, there was so much fight over pay issue, talking about disparity in the amount of money the boys get compared to the girls and stuff like that. And England recently also passed a law where the bonuses for the players, both male and female, happens to say same. How far has Nigeria gone when it comes to gender inequality?
Okay, so it depends on where you're looking at it from.
It's from let's start from the small level.
Okay, so gender inequality in sports, right? It's something that is here and it's global. It's not only a Nigerian problem. If you ask me, it's not only a problem, it's global. And we saw what happened in when the American team won the World Cup, Women's World Cup. Yeah. You know what happened then?
The it and everything.
Yes, and I think President Trump was in government at the time. They protested despite winning, because what they want. So if American athletes can be complaining, how much more? Like the Super Falcons, the under 20 and all of them, the female teams and the other ones from basketball across other sports and all that. So it's a global problem. So we are not only asking for equality, we're also asking for equity for women. So you take care of them. Their welfare is very important. The treatment you are giving the men, yes, because as you know, both of us have been on this journey together, trying to advocate for the right things to be done for female athletes in Nigeria. And most of the excuses some of the people in charge give to us is that they don't really get support in terms of marketing, sponsorship and all of that. They don't get people to support them, to sponsor them and all that. So what are you telling me exactly? That you don't get sponsors, that's why you don't support them? Then coming back to media as well, you are now in the media. How much effort are we doing? Are we putting together to project the women's game, to project female athletes? Because people that are putting money in sport also want something, especially they want to leverage on the media hype, the publicity and all of that. So if the media are not really talking about these teams, who will put money? So we need to also do this by also creating and reporting. We also do this by reporting the women's game as well, so that sponsors can come. Because the excuses they are giving is that we don't really get sponsors, we don't get people to. So can we balance it everywhere? Both administrators, both the media, both the sponsors as well, to see that supporting the women, empowering the women is empowering the nation, empowering the society. We just listened to a discussion from the Benin talking about role of women in nation building, and also gender equality should be a thing. Inequality should not be a thing that should be mentioned in our society. I've been talking with the executive director of Fame Foundation, Aderonke. We are taking a look at our role of International Day of Sports for development and peace right there, and also trying to really keep abreast of how we can really be able to take the game to the next level. I'm still talking about it, but Ronke, the question right now is, do you think Nigeria, we are taking advantage of role of sports in promoting unity in Nigeria? Have we really taken a full advantage of it? I don't think we have done enough, but you can be better, because like I said earlier, that Nigeria is diverse, is diversified and it's heterogeneous. We have a uniqueness in terms of religion and all of that, tribe, languages spoken and all of that. And the only thing in Nigeria today that brings us together is sport. Whenever the Super Eagles are playing, no one cares they are Yoruba, they are outside, they are Igbo, they are Tiv, they are Nupe. They all fly the flag They all claim to be Nigerians. See people putting the flag on their faces, wearing the green, white, green t-shirt. I mean, it's always beautiful. It's personally, it's something that makes me, that gives me joy when I see Nigerians coming together. I say Nigeria. That is the only time you hear Nigerians chant Nigerians, forgetting where they're from. That's when you see a Muslim hugging a Christian tightly. That's where you see an Igbo man hugging an Hausa man tightly. That's where you see a Hausa man hugging a Tiv man tightly, and all of that. So that's when even a full animal will hug a Yoruba person. So because of sport. So why can't we now leverage on the power, the buzz, the unifying power of sport to push for development, to advocate for changes to be done, to push for peace, to push for unity in the country? Yes, some people are doing it. In my own little way, my organization and my team members were doing it. I know some organizations too. Now, can you imagine if it's a priority? Because sport is a national treasure in Nigeria today. Okay, not all the monuments, not what we have in our museums and all of that, they are also their treasure, but we're talking about this treasure. This is an element of society that can actually go deep as to where there is no internet, where there are no radio. Yeah, of course, radio is like everywhere, but no internet, no internet connection and all of that. To the deepest, I'm just trying to to illustrate to everybody of the side, to the villages, to the deep inside the villages, that and all of that. So I think that we should leverage on the power of this sport. Football has 3.9 billion followers globally. According to research, 3.9 billion people are obsessed with the game. Can you now imagine? Nigeria, we are a people of 200 million plus. Let's now say that, okay, so this is me now, creating a picture that we have 90 million out of 200 million Nigerians following sports. Then that's out of 90 million, let's say 20 million are using sports as a tool to preach unity, especially in the places that are conflict, there are intertribal conflict, there are farmers, others conflict, and all sorts of conflict that we have. If we use sport to preach peace, no matter what, if we do it consistently, if we continue doing it, gathering people together in different places, from the city center to the urban center, and from the city center to the villages, then while we are gathered, we are passing the messages across. While we are gathered, it's in the news, we're talking about it. Can we use that buzz? We saw what happened 2 weeks ago, right? When Nigeria played Guinea-Bissau and all of that. What happened when we played Guinea-Bissau? What happened when we played Guinea-Bissau was that we lost the game, of course, unfortunately. But can you look at the buzz, the crowd at the pitch? What if we use that avenue? Almost all Nigerian was watching that match at the time. Can we now create like 30 seconds or 1 minute out of that time of the buzz going on to pass the message of peace, unity, development, whatever it is across?
Really interesting right there. And that will take me to one major issue. We know when we're talking sport, it's also along the line we must also talk politics, because a lot of politics also interwoven with sports right there. But the question right now is, we saw what happened at the last election. There's so much ethnic correlation to the voting pattern and everything, and also not forgetting a little bit of tribalism here and there for the last election, and a lot of people have come out to condemn it. How can we use sport to bring back, because it brings back to my mind what happened when Nelson Mandela assumed power in South Africa in the 90s, and they realized that for them to be able to build the nation back, sports will play a major role. The major brand at that point, it happens to be the Springboks of South Africa, the rugby team. He used the rugby team to be able to bring the nation together, because it was mainly dominated by the white people. He took the rugby national team to some areas, to the ghettos where the blacks are, so they can maybe also have a sense of belonging and also be able to identify with it. And it helped in nation building at that point in time. With what happened at this last election, so much ethnic coloration, tribalism and stuff like that, how can we use sport to ensure this country come together and see themselves as one? How can we use that especially for the incoming administration? Okay,
so I think that that, like I said earlier on, there's nothing can happen at the high level in a nation without you drafting the right policy, putting the right policy in place. When you have a policy, it should be introduced, it should be inserted into or applied into maybe the right ministry, the right agencies to take up, and it goes round. It goes to everywhere, like it's a fabric of the society. So policy is where we start from. Okay, so what are we going to do is that, if you ask me, that I think that we need to capitalize on the power of sport. Like I said, the new administration should look at a way to capitalize on the power of sport by drafting the right policies, putting the right policies in place, putting the right people in place, people that are passionate, that are intentional, people that are effective, that could make it happen by ensuring that, let's say, for example, of course, the supervisor of anything sport in Nigeria is the Ministry of Sport. So whoever is going to be the Minister of Sport should find a way to now, could have even a desk, a sport for development, a sport for peace and development department or desk. We can now work together with agencies, make it, link it to the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, link this to the Ministry of Gender, humanitarian, social investment in states. These state commissioners can take over. They also have people that are in charge. Of course, it's money. So I'm coming.
Yeah, but much money must be invested if you want the unity of this nation. It's very, very paramount, because when we look at what transpired the last election, a lot of people feel that there's so much need to be done to be able to turn things around. Especially with so much level of tribalism that characterize this election. I'm
trying to break it down. I'm trying to break it down from top to bottom. Okay, so now from federal level to the state level, the commissioners in different states, they now have to align with the policy we have from the federal level to look at how we can actually use sports, coming together, let's say the commissioner for sport, then working with the social investment, gender, whatever it is they have, SDGs office, to now form a very good program in line with the policy we have on ground, or we have a national program already. For example, we had the Empower, something like that. We can now say S-Power now by the federal ministry of that is being activated across states. So now when we get to the state level, they will not carry out projects in probably local governments, local council, which will be consistent, because consistency also matters a lot. So let's say, for example, A local government, B local government, C, we're bringing. Okay, so I've been part of a program by one of the UN agencies. We're using sport for development, and I'm a federal coach for this program. And I can tell you from my experience that I've been to Maiduguri, I've been to Nasarawa, Ondo, and all of that, and the places I worked are inside communities. We are using sports. You need to see how responsive, how effective, even sustainable this project is going to be. It's actually sustainable. So from experience, you can ask me, I can tell you, because I'm a sport for development enthusiast for 12 years, and all the projects we've done in now little ways have been effective, it's been sustainable. So I think again that a policy should be put in place that will be, because it shouldn't be an April 6th program alone, because today is International Day for Sports for Peace and Development. We're talking about this. What happens tomorrow? We'll move on to talk about it again next year. No. So can we start something today? Can we start looking for a way to push for the government to do the right thing by putting the right policy in place and capitalizing on the power of sports in Nigeria? It is underutilized, if you ask me. Again,
I've been talking with Aderonke Bello, the Executive Director of Faith Foundation. We're talking about International Day for Sports Development and Peace right there. I've been illustrating how valuable sports has been in nation building and the role sports can play, and especially for the incoming administration, the reason why they have to use sports as a means to build the country, and also not forgetting what transpired the last election. And now the focus should be using sport as a tool in achieving peace and unity within the country. I must say a big thank you to you, Aderonke, for linking up with us this morning.
Always my pleasure. So
I'll be handing over to our Arabinrin Network studio, where we'll continue with This Morning on Night TV and keeping you abreast with some major events, major stories or current issues happening across the world. Over to our Arabinrin Network Center.